Chelsea fans! After that disappointing 0-0 draw away at Goodison Park, Chelsea still sit 2 points clear of Arsenal, second in the table. And it was such a frustrating game for us Chelsea fans because if we'd have got 3 points against Everton, we would have gone temporarily top of the Premier League table before the Liverpool versus Tottenham game. Now, even though this was a very frustrating game to watch for us Chelsea fans, there were some positives and some negatives I want to talk about in today's video. So in today's video, we're going over the 5 things that we learned from Everton 0, Chelsea 0. Did you know that 90% of the people watching this video right now are currently not subscribed to the channel? So make sure you leave a like and subscribe if you're a Chelsea fan who enjoys Chelsea content. Make sure you join the community and let's get into the video. Now, the first thing I want to talk about is we were not clinical enough. We created so many chances across this entire game, dominated possession, dominated the ball for large spells for the whole game, and we couldn't capitalise. Now, normally we outscore teams and this isn't normally a problem. Today, however, with Everton playing a dirty low block, which we expected them to play, Chelsea could not carve them open in a way that we could exploit. We were creating chances upon chances upon chances, but we were nowhere near clinical enough. Now, this will happen from time to time when you have a team like Chelsea that do create a ridiculous amount of chances and aren't as clinical as we could be. Now, there has been a massive improvement this year with how clinical we have been, but this game was so frustrating because we wasted so many opportunities. The second thing that I want to talk about is the defensive line. The defensive line was fantastic today, not in terms of catching off sides, but in terms of making invaluable interceptions and blocks when it was needed the most. Everton created some really good chances that we should have really conceded from. However, you had players like Disasi and Tosin, even Sanchez making some incredible blocks and saves, and it really did save us today. This is something that we've noticed in previous games where we concede chances, then we concede goals. But even though this was a very frustrating 0-0 draw for Chelsea fans because of the amount of chances we created, in terms of defending, we did incredibly well to keep a clean sheet, and it needs to be recognised. This type of backline that concedes chances, if we can keep the clean sheets, then I don't mind conceding the chances if we feel confident in keeping the ball out of the net still. The third thing that I want to talk about is Robert Sanchez. Now, I've been very public on this channel and on my TikTok account that I am not Robert Sanchez's biggest fan. However, he was absolutely superb today. His distribution was on point. The saves he made to keep us at 0-0 were unbelievable. These are the sorts of chances that Sanchez would normally concede. There was no real silly mistakes from Sanchez today. He went out there and done his job. And if we had scored a few goals, we would be raving about Robert Sanchez even more. He got man of the match for this game against Everton, and I think it was thoroughly deserved because Everton had some really good opportunities to take 1 or 2-0 leads, and they didn't because Robert Sanchez did everything he could to keep the ball out of the net. And I felt like, from what I watched of the game, he looked a lot more vocal in terms of talking to the defence. His positioning was on point, and like I said, the most important thing is he kept a clean sheet, which ultimately led to us getting a point, which is better than losing a game as frustrating as this could have been, where we could have conceded a couple of goals and walked away thinking we should have won that game. At least we got a point out of this, even though we still think that we should have won this game, and because of the chance creation and the domination, I feel like we should have. Robert Sanchez played his part perfectly today. That's not even a word. He played his part perfectly today and got a very warranted man of the match performance. The fourth thing that I want to talk about is Enzo Moresa waited too long for the substitutes. There needed to be a change a lot sooner than when there was. I think he brought on the first sort of subs after the 70th minute, and we saw a change of pace in the game. We saw the players come on and try and make an impact, but I just don't think they had long enough. And I feel like Enzo Moresa, as much as I praise him, I think his man management's fantastic. His tactics are fantastic. He sets us up in the right way. I feel like today he set us up in the right way, but he wasn't proactive in the changes he should have been making a lot sooner. We let the game go on a little bit longer, and I feel like at that point, it was throw the kitchen sink at Everton and see if we can get a point. And again, defensively, we did well to keep a clean sheet and make sure we solidified that point. But going forward, we were creating chances, no one could take them, or it was frustrating because things were breaking down in the attacking third. And I just feel like the players he brought on could have made more of an impact if he brought them on a lot sooner. Now, this isn't to say that I'm anti-Moresa and I'm negative Moresa. I think he's done a fantastic job. But when you do good things and you do bad things, it needs to be highlighted. And today, Enzo Moresa just didn't make the changes quick enough for me, and I felt like it was pinnacle in the result. And before we get into the fifth and final thing we learned from Everton 0, Chelsea 0, I have one honourable mention, and that is that this is actually a good result, which I know sounds counterintuitive because obviously we were frustrated that we didn't get the 3 points and potentially go top before the Liverpool-Tottenham game. Now I understand that. However, if you look historically at our head-to-head of when we play at Goodison Park or even when we play at Stamford Bridge, Everton seem to be a bogey team. You never know what you're going to get from an Everton-Chelsea game. And I feel like getting a 0-0 draw, as much as it didn't go our way and we didn't get the 3 points, to come away with 1 point at our last game at the Goodison is actually a very good result. Everton held Arsenal to a draw at the same place at the Goodison as well. And we looked at Arsenal and went, oh, well, they just aren't as good. They're falling off, blah, blah, blah. Everton have done their job. They had that low block. They were solid defensively, tried hitting us on the counter. They were very effective at doing that. They did their job very well. And I feel like Enzo Moresa and the boys did well to come away with a point. Like I said, Sanchez made some incredible saves, some good blocks from the likes of Tosin, Disasi, and other players around the pitch to make sure we kept that clean sheet. But overall, this is actually a good result to go away to Everton and pick up a point, because the amount of times we've gone to Everton and come back with nothing is ridiculous. Yes, we have gone to Goodison and won games, of course, but when you look back, even when Chelsea was showcasing the last times we won at Goodison, it's like 2017, 2018, and things like that. And yes, we beat them 6-0 at Stamford Bridge last season, different season, etc., blah, blah, blah. But I feel like a 0-0 and getting 1 point at our last game at Goodison is actually a good result for us. And the fifth and final thing that we learned from Everton 0, Chelsea 0, is we are not in the title race. Now, I have been a big fan of saying that we're not in the title race, and I know a lot of Chelsea fans have been saying we're not in a title race. However, within the TikTok community and some of this YouTube community, some people have been saying we are in the title race. We are second before Christmas. We are trying to win the title this season. And to a game like today backs up what Enzo Moresa has said, where we have a lot to learn. We are going to drop points this season. There will be things that we need to learn as a team going forward. This is very early in Moresa's reign with this Chelsea side, and it kind of backs up what he's been saying. We're not in a title race, unfortunately, and that's not necessarily a bad thing. A title race is where we are going to racing to win the title, and I don't think we are nowhere near that level this season. We have played exceptional, and I think we're ahead of schedule where Moresa thought we were going to be, especially at this stage of the season. And hey, I'm super happy with the run that we've been on. We are still on an unbeaten run with Enzo Moresa, which, don't hold me to it, I think it's around 9 to 10 games, 8 to 10 games of unbeaten games. Like, that's fantastic. It's such a stark difference to what we had last season, but we are not in a title race, and I think this game really backed that up. So those are the 5 things that we learned from Everton 0, Chelsea 0, plus an honourable mention. Do you agree or disagree? Let me know your thoughts down below in the comment section. I love having a conversation with you guys. Now, after this game, we move on to Fulham on Boxing Day, where we're hoping to bounce back and secure an extra 3 points, because again, that keeps the pressure on those top 3 positions. And regarding the Liverpool-Tottenham result, which will be determined after I film this, we will now have a better understanding of where we're going to be going into the start of 2025. And if you have made it this far to the end of the video, there'll be a thumbnail that pops up on the screen. So if you are a Chelsea fan who enjoys Chelsea content, make sure you click that thumbnail because you'll enjoy that video too.